This episode of TechZilla is brought to you by Podio.
Apple's iPad owns the tablet market. Android's trying to pick up speed. Can Windows even make a dent? Joining us to talk Microsoft Surface Pro, which is kind of more of a laptop replacement than an iPad killer, Anand Shimpi from AnandTech. How are you?
Good. How are you, sir?
I'm good, man. Welcome back.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So, Surface Pro, I mean, I got to say, it seems more of a laptop without a keyboard than sort of a traditional tablet.
Yeah, so, everyone likes to make fun of Microsoft for this segment, but I really do believe that they're kind of at the forefront of a new device segment here, which is this stuff between a tablet and an Ultrabook. I think they're early. The OS isn't fully polished. The hardware they need isn't on the market yet, but I think they really believe that there is room for something. I don't know how big the market is, but I know there's a lot of interest for kind of a productivity device that has all the benefits of a tablet and all the horsepower of a notebook.
And that's really the big story behind the Surface Pro is the Core i5 processor and excellent performance.
Yes, and those are the big things. Like, Apple has done a tremendous job on the iPad and on the iPhone as well of making really, really slow hardware seem very quick. They've done a great job with iOS in that regard. But you'll notice that there's still like a handful of applications, handful of user experiences that you can't really do there yet. So, for example, Apple loves to talk about the creative professionals. Even though photographers can use the iPad to kind of proof and show content, their big editing is going to happen on an OS X machine. It can be a notebook or whatever, but if you want to actually do real video editing, real photo editing, that's going to happen on a notebook. So there's still stuff that you can't do with at least with the current level of ARM-based tablets that are out there. And what Microsoft's done here is they've integrated laptop hardware. This is the same Intel Ivy Bridge CPU that you get in a MacBook Air or in an Ultrabook, and it's paired with like a real SSD. So this thing is capable. The review sample I had had a Micron C400 mSATA drive. You get over 400 megabytes per second reads, nice. Over 200 megabytes per second writes. This is you could have this in your desktop and it would be just fine. But by comparison, in most ARM-based tablets, you're looking at about 20-ish megs per second, best case scenario for sequential read and writes, and then random I/O is just way worse.
And that really impacts you basically. Like if I want to open up, a giant collection of raw files that I've shot with my camera, if I want to open up a video, having the performance on the ARM-based tablets, it's just going to take you seconds and minutes and days to open up those files by comparison.
Yeah, it's just a completely different usage model, right? So Surface Pro has a single USB 3 port, and you can dump files onto your system. You can plug in a hard drive, an SSD, USB stick, whatever. I was getting 200 megs per second over USB.
Wow.
Right? So, if you have a huge video or big photos or anything you need to get on there, you're talking about an order of magnitude better performance than what you can get on literally an order of magnitude better performance than what you can get on an ARM-based tablet.
So it's thicker than most of the ARM-based tablets. It's heavier than most of the ARM-based tablets. How is the battery life by comparison?
Yeah, so I have, so this is, let's see if we can get this on here, Surface Pro here. So you can kind of see it's not thin. and here's Surface RT on top of it. So you can kind of get an idea, like
it's thicker.
Yes, it's definitely thicker. Battery life isn't, that's honestly one of the big issues with it. For a lightweight tablet usage model, right, I'm talking basic browsing the web, checking emails, watching videos, stuff like that, you're looking at 5 to 6 hours on a single charge. By comparison, Surface RT is good for 9. The latest iPad 2, for example, good for like 13 plus. The iPad 3 and 4, you're looking at 9 or 10 hours there. So there's a substantial difference in battery life. If you actually start using this thing as like a workstation, as you would an Ultrabook, then you're looking at more like 3 to 4 hours. And it can get even lower than that. I haven't actually seen how bad it can get.
Is it fair to say ouch at this point? It seems like with all that extra case, they should have put more battery inside of it.
Well, it's got a big battery, right? It has the same size battery roughly as the new iPad. The issue is it doesn't have Haswell. It really wasn't, again, there's a 17-watt Ivy Bridge in here. This is the same CPU SoC that's in your MacBook Air or your Ultrabook. They really need to go down to lower power hardware, and that's just not here for the first generation.
So we're thinking about this, basically, this is a content creation device more so than a traditional ARM tablet that's a content consumption device. How does Surface Pro differ from Surface RT?
So there are a few, commonalities, right? You can use the same accessories, the same charger, the same. So this is the touchpad or the touch cover, the detachable keyboard cover, and really this is very well executed. So that works on both models. Where they differ is this is running full-blown Windows 8 Pro, so you can run pretty much all of your x86 applications. That's really, really helpful in enterprise environments where a lot of folks, they work at a company, it might even be a tech company, but they have certain internal applications that only work under like Windows XP or Windows Vista or what have you, and there's no real hope to getting those ported over to iOS or Android at this point. So you have full backwards compatibility there, and then all the benefits that come along with Windows 8. In terms of comparisons to RT on the hardware side, it's a lot faster. So this is something that I noticed. I'm actually going to be publishing some video on this. You pick up Surface RT and you scroll around in Bing Maps with the satellite view on, and it's okay. Like it's relatively smooth. There's definitely some stutters in frame rate. Takes time for the map tiles to load, stuff like that. You pick up the iPad 4, do the same thing in iOS maps. It's a lot faster, but still not perfect, right? You can tell that there's some hiccups in frame rate, what have you, and still some tiles take a little time to stream in. Do the same thing on Surface Pro, and it's smooth. Like it is just perfectly smooth. When the iPad with Retina display hit, I had a lot of folks tell me, not a huge amount, but let's say 5% of the people I asked, they would tell me, hey, this feels a little choppier than the previous generation model. And I never noticed it, but I noticed it now going to Surface Pro, right? Like it's clear this is a different class of hardware in terms of peak performance. Now, the dangerous thing for Microsoft is that Apple is able to come, at least for the tablet usage model, they're able to come dangerously close to the Surface Pro experience with far, far slower hardware, right? And then that opens up the question, well, if Apple were to build a Surface competitor, what would it look like and how would it behave? And that's if I'm in Microsoft's shoes, that's really what I'd be worried about.
I was going to say, that would sound like it would be very, very painful for Microsoft unless they have some hardware iterations coming up.
So if you believe in this device, then you got to believe that Apple will at some point come out with something here. And the real question is, will Microsoft, starting, I guess, with unpolished software and the wrong hardware, will they be able to iterate it to kind of a final, very polished, awesome device, or will Apple do the usual Apple thing, which is wait until all the bits are ready and then kind of come out with something that's polished from the get-go? And this is one of the first times in recent history that I think we've seen that sort of a race, right? If you look back to the current smartphone revolution and the tablet revolution after that, in both of those cases, Microsoft wasn't iterating at the point when Apple showed up. Right. And I think this particular segment is going to be particularly interesting because of the fact that Microsoft is addressing it right now. It's not fully baked, but they're addressing it now, and we have to see how it evolves over time.
I suspect we will. Microsoft Surface Pro teardown up on AnandTech.com. What's coming up this week on AnandTech, Anand?
We got a lot of stuff. So Intel officially announced their Intel Media and their TV strategy. They didn't really give a lot of details, but and I think people are kind of writing it off because Intel still hasn't they haven't delivered on the promise of doing anything in the phone space. But this is a different group, a whole bunch of other people, and it's actually one of the most interesting things that I've kind of heard of in recent time. So we'll be covering a little bit more of that. Intel hasn't released a lot of details, but I'll be doing a lot of sort of analysis of why this matters and what I'm expecting. So that's kind of one of the big things. And then there's always new SSDs coming up. And in the coming months, we'll finally see Haswell on top of all of that.
Hopefully we'll have you back on to talk about Haswell as it approaches. Anand, awesome stuff as always. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't been there, go there now, AnandTech.com. Awesome reviews, awesome analysis. Thanks again, Anand.
Thank you, sir.
Right now, we got to go somewhere and take a moment to thank one of our sponsors.
Does this sound familiar? Here at Tekzilla, we've got email to instant messaging systems, scripts and doc files, spreadsheets full of show info, the Rundown creator. Robert works from home, I'm always traveling around, Patrick's who knows where, and we all work on multiple shows. Too many apps, too many browser windows, it's disorganized, impossible to manage, and hey, this is tech, so priorities are always shifting. Citrix has the solution, Podio. Podio is the tool to manage your projects, back and forth instant communication, and workflow from one easy-to-use platform. Finally, you can work the way you want to. It's not some rigid, this is the way our group works, so your group can work our way tool. With Podio, you have total flexibility, the tools to customize your own collaborative workspaces and make managing your projects manageable. Bring any team together, coworkers, clients, external contracts, whoever you want. Plus, you and your team can work from any mobile device with the free Podio apps. Start using Podio today. It's free. Visit podio.com, sign up, set up your first workspace, and invite your team to get started. Work the way you want with podio.com.